get to work. Go on.
Hey everybody, Gears here with what I'll call is an off-the-books Mars Composite fiberglass dome. This is not an official release. This was more of a bad casting that Scott, one of the owners of Mars Composites, was going to hand off to a friend of a friend sort of situation, but that kind of fell through, so he offered it to me. He had a slight, modest discount. And the reason for that discount is that there are a lot of pits and other little dings going on that he simply couldn't sell this as a regular full piece. Initially, I had only seen a little of the damage back here. Well, damage is the wrong word. The manufacturing errors, how about that? So like here, I initially just saw these few pieces and I was like, oh, that's not too bad. But as you look around, pretty much the entire dome has some kind of issue with it somewhere, especially all this minor pitting. And that's not going to be a problem to fix at all. A few layers of primer just to check things out and make sure that all the depths are really where they are. Crinkles like these go away because that's going to be drilled. This circle gets drilled, that circle gets drilled, and so on. So it won't be as bad as it may seem, I don't think. But none of that can be cut until I really get all the surfaces fixed. I did learn that when I did do the Lemons dome. I cut those holes pretty early, and that was that caused more problems than needed to be. So this entire thing has to be fully set, primered, surfaced, and maybe even painted before I cut all the holes into place. We'll see. Eventually there will be lighting, there will be pretty much noise, there will be pretty much everything. The dome will spin and so on. For now, in the immediate future, it's just going to be the basics. For example, I'm going to have to save up for some aluminum hollow projectors, and at $110 each with 3 of them, plus shipping, that's a little bit of money going on. So I'll stick with resin ones for now. And here's a look at the unfinished interior of the famous Mars Composite domes. Normally, for a full finished dome that Scott would ship out to a customer, all of these edges get sanded down. There's a couple of sharp pieces on the underside and here that kind of hurt. Probably drips that solidified, I would imagine. Can't really see them though. And while it may look very wet down here, it is in fact very, very dry. And another indication that this is an off-the-books dome is that there is no signature on the inside with a quote. Usually a standard hallmark for them is they'll watch movies while they're casting these up, and they'll come across a quote they like on the movie as they're finishing up, and they'll write that down in here to kind of authenticate it. So this is a very unique dome in my hands in many, many ways. So this dome is going to my car to replace Lemons, who will go to my wife's car. This one I'm pretty sure I'm going to be calling R2-AP, apples for short, since we have lemons. And it turns out my wife may even have a Star Wars related item that we are going to be calling carrots. So the vegetable and fruit theme continues along with all our Star Wars droids and paraphernalia. So first up, I think, is checking out to see if I need to wash this or not. I'll throw a little spray paint on. I'm going to have to go to the store and get a number of cans of primer. And then I'll be doing a standard paint pass that I typically do. I'll go with the base primer, probably a brown in this case. Then yellows, oranges, silvers, and repeat all those layers, so build up a nice healthy depth going on, and then the final colors, and done. I will not be weathering this with rust and stuff quite so heavy as I normally would, because I am going by a specific Star Wars reference. That is the droid dome that's in the back of Wedge's Red 2 X-Wing. So it's going to be a shiny red dome with white panels all over the place, black hollow projectors. So because this thing occupies most of my paint booth, I'm not really going to be able to get the camera in there, but I'll get some shots as I go along. First up is a little bit of something. And with just a single pass of 150 grit, this is definitely looking a lot better. So another sanding, probably 150 again. Another priming, then a 220. Then we'll see where we're at. I'm gonna have to start scribing out all the panel lines here in case the paint builds up too roughly. Hey everybody, Gears here, and I'm actually the fourth coat of primer in at this point. First two coats were some self-etching green auto primer, and then I put down a coat of red and white just to see what it would look like, to give me an impression of the overall effect in the end. It's a red dome, white panels, Hollow projectors are black and silver. The front and rear logics are red, and yeah, we'll see how it goes from there. Normally when I'd paint something like this, there's a specific painting process I'd go through to make sure that when I sanded back and weathered everything down, that rust and other colors would appear, and the way to do that is to put those down first when you're painting. So normally I'll go with a brown primer, then a splatter spray, yellow, orange, a little more brown, maybe a hint of red, or even a blue can work as far as rust colors go, but you got to be really careful. And then bury any colors that got to be too much with more of the orange and the yellow, and however it worked out to get a nice balance. That goes on top of a base silver, which is then sandwiched again with another layer of silver. So when you're sanding down, you get to this first silver, you know, uh-oh, I'm down to the rust. That means I'm almost at the base material, in this case fiberglass, in the case of my car plastic. Slow down on the weathering. Having the silver under the rust gives you just that little extra bit of security when you're going down with the sanding and you may go too far. So on top of all that silver then goes the factory colors, in this case the red and the white. From there I'd sand those down, weather them back up, paint them again, and just keep repeating the process. In this case, because it's going on my car and my car looks Star Wars dirty, I think I want to give the droid a really fine automotive finish, and that means I'm going with a really deep gloss. I'm thinking 10 if not 20 layers of gloss if I can get away with it, with 800 and 1000 sanding between each. Basically, I have a good stock of gloss on hand. I'll take it as far as I can, and we'll see where it gets me. Maybe it's only 5 passes. We'll see how it goes. But this is the base. But this, what you're seeing here, is the base primer overall. And from here we'll see where it goes.